Okay. Tim, let me know if you're good to go.
There's thunder outside. Or was that the gavel?
Okay.
No.
Tim,
Are we
let me know
ready?
if you're good to go.
Yeah, it's good.
There's thunder outside.
I'd like to call to
Or
order
was
the
that the
meeting of the
gavel?
Mercer County Board of Education.
Are we ready?
Bobby Walden, District 1.
Yeah, it's good.
There's thunder outside.
Larry Yeager, District 2. I'd like to
Or
order
was
the
that the
meeting of the
gavel?
Mercer County Board of Billy Montgomery, District 3.
Are we ready?
Here.
Bobby Walden, Christy Devine, District
Yeah,
4.
it's
I'm
good.
here. Randy Phillips, District 5. Larry Yeager, District 2.
Or
Order
was
the
that the
meeting.
gavel?
Can I get an approval of the agenda? District 3.
I will make a motion
Bobby
for
Walden,
approval.
Christy Devine, District
Yeah,
4.
it's
I'm
good.
here. Randy Phillips, District 5. Larry Yeager, District 2.
Or was that the
Can I
gavel?
get an approval of the agenda? District 3.
I will
Was that-
make a motion
I don't know
for
who that
approval.
was, guys.
I'll second.
I'm here. Thank you, Billy. Larry, Bobby, you all good with it?
Or was that the
Can I
gavel?
get an approval of the agenda? And we'll move right on to report. I don't know who that was. The superintendent.
I'll second.
Thank you, Billy. District Larry, Bobby, you all good with it?
Or was that the
Can I
gavel?
get an approval of the agenda? And we'll move right on to report. I don't know who that was. The superintendent.
I can tell you honestly, at this point in time, we're preparing for multiple different scenarios. We set out, the board has adopted 3 different options to start the school, one being July 29th, the second one August 12th, and the third one September 3rd. I do not see at this point in time how we will be able to be prepared to start on July 29th. On technology and some other pieces, so it doesn't look like that might happen. However, understand whatever option we pick or whatever option we do, if the governor asks us to do something, our health department says we're going to start the July 29th, then we'll start July 29th. But I don't see that happening. But at the certain times, you never know. So we have those 3 possible dates. And we're focusing more on the August 12th and the September 3rd date to see which one works better and different things from there. We're also developing different scenarios. What will school like when we come back? There's 3 different options on that part. One is we come back normal. We don't think that's really a great possibility, but we have to be prepared. The second is that we go all virtual. And we know that that's not the best learning environment either. Or we do some type of hybrid where students come in part-time for part day and do the other part of their day virtually. So when I talk about we have 3 different hybrid plans that we're looking at. So we're developing all these plans to get in place. And as we get more information, we'll be sharing that out, and I'll cover that more in here in a minute. But there's all kinds of different scenarios. We are looking at the second week of July to really pinpoint a start date and what plan we will take. So we're hoping second week of July we'll be able to announce to the public that what our plans are, what it's going to look like. We're going to give parents options. One option is if they don't feel comfortable sending their kid back to school, we are going to allow virtual. So there are all types of different options that we can allow parents as we go through this. Now, that is all subject to change on what the COVID-19 coronavirus does. So please understand that. Some of our athletic programs have started back. They're allowed to do workouts. They're not allowed to do any type of practice or anything from there. But how that works is the athletic department or whatever group, like I met with Man yesterday, they give us a plan. We sit down and discuss it. Then we take it to the Mercer County Health Department. They will look at it. If they approve it and we follow those recommendations, and we're allowing students to come back and re-enter into campus to participate in either band, athletics, and different things from there. But they have to have a detailed plan and they have to follow those recommendations, or we won't let anybody do anything. But it's nice to see some students getting out and doing some different things from there. And if you have any specific questions, I'll be more than glad to ask it as far as what those recommendations are. This week, we've toured each building with Kathy Atkins and Stacy Blacker from the Mercer County Health Department. As we're going through the buildings, they are sharing with us recommendations they have from the Kentucky Department of Health. We're also generating questions for them that need additional clarification on, and they are taking these questions back to the State Department of Health clarification. At this time, they are still waiting on guidance from the state level Department of Health on reopening of schools. Once they receive this document, they will share it with us. Then they will be able to make determination on which plan is best for our students and meeting the requirements, which we're hoping that'll be the second week of July. And when we go through these walkthroughs, it's quite overwhelming. The recommendation right now for a student is, for a library book is 72 hours. So if we have a student come in and picks up a book to look at it, that book has to be quarantined for 72 hours before it can go back on the shelf. That's one example. If you want more examples, I'll be more than glad to share that with you. But that's just how detailed the plans are being in providing a safe environment for our students. Any questions?
Dennis, for one, I was kind of hoping that tonight we could eliminate that July date. I just can't see us really being ready or wanting to actually go to that one. But yeah, I understand that we probably have to leave it on the platform at least. But I was kind of hoping we could just do away with that one.
Well, as you know, it was on the agenda. But as soon, my fear is as soon as we say that, the governor comes out tomorrow and says, it looks like it's going to spike in October. We need everybody to go back as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So I think the chances of that July date are very slim. I know us as an administrative team do not want to do the July 29th start date. So unless we're forced or asked to, now I shouldn't say forced because, we'll do what the recommendations are. We won't be ready. We won't have our technology stuff here, different things from there. So unless things change dramatically, I don't see the July 29th, but I don't want to tell people it's off the table. And then tomorrow I have to come back and say, sorry, things have changed.
Yeah.
Dennis, has the state given you any kind of indication of when they may be ready to eliminate that start time of the 29th?
They are developing some reopening of schools documents. Some things changed this last Tuesday. But no, they have not told us. Their recommendation right now is still to have those 3 calendar options.
Okay.
I heard on the news just a few minutes ago that there are some states that have gone back with some form, at least, of the in-person things, and there's they named 3 or 4 states that their daily coronavirus things has increased by 50% or more on several states. And I know they said there a while ago that Kentucky, I think the governor has been saying that he thought we were on a decline, but now he's saying think that we're back to a plateau now. So I'm not sure how that's going to go either.
Yes, Billy, that's correct. And I was looking it up here because I couldn't remember the number. But there are some states that are spiking very quickly. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was, I can't find it. I don't want to speak out of turn, but yes, there are some states that have seen a great increase in the spikes.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
Nope.
All right. And reminder, finance officer report, please.
Sorry, it's coming up. I'm going slow. Okay. If you want to look at all of the attachments over on the right-hand side, you can. This is just a brief summary of all of those together. So for the month of May, our ending general fund cash balance was $5.1 million, as opposed to last year, almost $5.4 million. Our overall revenue though is up 1% compared to last May, and that includes our beginning balance. And our receipts received in the year are up 0.39%. Is up, not a lot there. We have received 94.7% of the revenue that we budgeted for the fiscal year. And then when we include the beginning balance, we are at 96.8%. And that's good considering May is 91.2% through the year. So that suggests that we're going to receive more revenue than what we budgeted. And then on the expense side, those are up 2% compared to the prior year. And that has stayed kind of on par most of the year. Most of that was due to the raises for staff and then increases for CERS and that kind of thing. Our expenses in May were $1.79 million, so they shot back up where last month, in April, they were way low compared to what they normally are at that time. But they're right on par with where they normally are in May because we're doing a whole lot of closing out of purchase orders and that kind of thing in May. We're doing our big push, and in June is always a really high month on expenses because we have our multiple payrolls that will come through in June. So just to give you all a heads up, that will be higher than for June as well. We have expended 84.1% of the expenses that we budgeted for the fiscal year. And again, that's good because May is 91.2% through the fiscal year. Are there any questions?
Nope.
No, good work.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Miner. Okay. Our Family Resource Director is Miss Amy Matthews.
I just want to take a minute and thank you all for letting us wait. I'm not Amy, I'm Jennifer. Amy's going to do the presentation, but I just wanted to do a short introduction. Each year in June, we come and present kind of an end of the year report to kind of share the great things that our Family Resource Centers do to provide to our families and students all year long. And I asked the ladies to introduce themselves because I'm not sure that all of you had met them last year. So they're going to introduce themselves and their center, and then Amy's going to share a presentation. Specifically this year, we targeted the presentation to the work that they did to support during the COVID time. We will add next year all the other activities throughout the year from August till up to when we left in March that you won't hear about necessarily, but they've done a lot of hard work to really support our families during this time and continue to do it throughout the summer. So we wanted to kind of share that information because it's current right now and let you know what's going on. But they do great things all year long, and I'm very thankful and appreciate all the hard work that they do for our families. So if they'll introduce themselves first, and then Amy, you can take it.
I'm Georgiana Gray. I'll just start because I'm elementary, sorry. I'm Georgiana Gray. I'm Family Resource at the Mercer County Elementary School, which is preschool through second grade.
Since we're going in order, I'm Amy Matthews. You'll see me in another minute. I am at MCIS 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I'm Allison Hazelwood. I'm at King Middle School, 6th grade through 8th grade.
And I'm Melody Pike. I'm with the high school and Mercer Central and Bay Treatment.
If you want to come up here so they can kind of see you better, hear you better. Sorry, front and center.
Is this for
Hot spot there.
No, I'm okay here.
Probably, if you want to sit, I mean, if you want to stand, you're more than welcome to stand too, but I kind of come over this way a little bit so they can see.
Right.
Okay.
So as Jennifer said, we've kind of had to re-gear ourselves a little bit because of the COVID, just like everybody else. So I called us our secret superheroes at work. We've been caring for our students and families, and the reason we're secret superheroes is most people, when you ask what a Family Resource Center coordinator does, they say, oh, well, they do the backpack program and they do changing clothes for kids when they make a spill or have an accident. But that's not even a part of our state grant. That's a part of the courtesies that we provide for our families. So I kind of wanted you all to see what we really are doing out there in the public and how we're representing the school system.
I'm gonna let you control that. You can move that over if you want to, and it's okay, which is good.
Okay. Let's see. So as you all know, Governor Beshear declared a state of emergency due to the COVID. I won't read all of this, but he did list Family Resource and Youth Service Centers as essential people to be out there working. I want you all to know that your Family Resource coordinators from day one were out on the streets working and taking care of our families and figuring out what their needs were. March 13th, very sadly, was our last normal day with our kids, as you all also are well aware of. So your secret superheroes went straight to work to figure out what our children and family would need to be cared for during this pandemic shelter at home. And we were very concerned about our very low income families, how they would get resources, how they would get food. So I'll show you what all we did. So we sprang into action. The directors and assistants, we ensured each child had weekend supplemental nutrition, which is our backpack program. We made sure that each family got 2 weeks worth of food. Everybody knows that there was a food shortage. And we weren't sure if we would be able to come back to the schools, if we'd be able to see our families again. So we made sure that everybody had several weeks worth of food on hand in their homes for the kids. We met to establish a cross-school family needs concerns in case we were out of school longer. Upon understanding that returning to school was a real distant possibility, we all got together again as a team and worked on making a plan of action to provide weekly nutritious pickups for the families in need. Our families are very low income that are on the backpack program, and then with everybody not being able to go to work, again, we were extremely concerned about how they were going to feed the kiddos. So the directors, let's see, did it skip on me?
I have.
Sorry.
It has a little bit of a lag going on to there, I think.
Okay. So we all wanted to make sure, did we already do this one? Okay, we did this one, sorry. I'm looking at two different screens. I should just look at this one.
And you can move it all the way over there if you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
That will make it easier. Sorry, you all. So we met with food service director Chris Miner, who just is fabulous. And we wanted to figure out what the best community routes would be, most in need of school lunch deliveries. We planned routes based on both city and county needs. Stationary locations versus routes were discussed because we know that our families have transportation issues. And so we created, between all of us, we decided a hybrid format should be created. We committed to riding the lunch buses with food service because of our established relationships with our families. We knew that if we told them that this was a good program and that it would help the school and it would also help their families, that our families would participate. So our families without transportation on the bus routes, our team members, we joined forces, we rode on the buses, we wanted to lay eyes on our kiddos and our families. So on the bus routes, we were able to receive Titan Learning Day packets from families. I had a family member that called and said that they had walked 3 miles to the school to turn in their Titan Learning Day packet. And so on the buses, we were able to take those packets from them and them only walk maybe a block or two. Library books were returned. Chromebooks were returned to us. Pictures and sweet little notes were returned. Little kids that were reaching out to the school just to let people know that they missed us and that they loved Mercer County schools. And that was probably the best part of all of the things that we were able to collect on the bus. We went door to door. So knowing the importance of the school meals and the success and the benefit to families of our lunch bus program, the FRC rode the bus routes and we walked door to door informing families of the lunch program and the schedule. Georgiana, who is a Facebook wizard, created Facebook page posts. She announced the routes, the menus. She advertised the school lunch program. Every week when we did our family backpack food, we had weekly flyers in those so the families had a hands-on. If they didn't have digital format, they had a paper format of where they could go to get free lunches. And we checked in with the families and created lists of students' needs for the virtual learning as well as COVID-19 health checks on all of our families. So there's Miss Georgiana. She was caught actually by a parent of a school child, and she got snuck out on Facebook because she was going door to door and inviting people to come to the lunch bus. So in all, in our weekly nutrition program, which is the backpack program, we had 72 families between all 4 of us that we shared that were getting weekly checks for their needs for nutrition. And we confirmed how they would they came to MCIS because I have a direct back door to the parking lot. So we discussed how they could come and socially distance pick up their food for the week. We purchased groceries through God's Pantry to serve our students. The Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club, our teachers, our churches, all provided pantry needs that we were running very low on. I can't say enough about the community love and people going grocery shopping, which is life-threatening during the COVID to go grocery shopping, and it was rationed, so we couldn't even go and get food. So these are just some of the examples of some of the donations that we got. The big cart full of food was literally 3 separate trips by one person to Walmart because the canned food was, they had a restriction on how many canned goods you could get. She went 3 times for our families. So, and then here's Miss Georgiana, and she received a check from the Rotary Club, and those funds went to God's Pantry so that we could purchase food from God's Pantry, because we could purchase bulk there, but we could not purchase bulk goods from any other place because of the food rationing. We all met to discuss the community needs. So based on what we were hearing from our families on our buses, we got together and decided that our families were in need of school supplies. So notebooks, crayons, markers, hand sanitizers, but also hygiene items, because they couldn't get out and get soap, shampoos, deodorants. And so we put together a package for 500 families across the district and distributed those on the lunch bus route that had all of these items in them for each family. So, you know, nobody had to risk getting out with a sick child to get deodorant, which we've got a lot of kids that have some health issues and family members. So we were able to provide that on the bus routes. So this is just an example of what went into our bags. This is all of us. I can just say that it should be in the qualification of a frisk to have an SUV or a truck, because this is all of, we had packed all of our school supplies in Georgiana's SUV and my truck and Allison's SUV, and then on the right is just our school supplies getting ready to get out on the buses. So just in time for the holiday weekend, we were all excited that Governor Beshear made the Easter Bunny an essential employee, but also Carpenter's Christian Church made little Easter bags for each one of the kids on our bus routes. And as a parent who can get out and get things, I struggle getting Easter for my kids. And so for some of our families, getting Easter eggs with little candies and a love note from a church, that may have been all their kids might have gotten for Easter, but each child got a bag of Easter eggs and some candies. So that was really exciting for us to be able to hand out to our families. And again, just shows the love of our community for our kiddos. These are just some of the family engagement activities we did. We put out bingo cards with activities so families could have ideas of how to do things. There was no excuse, I don't know how to make slime, because they got directions on how to make slime. So the people that participated, we drew some winners, and these are some of the winners that we had for the bingo participants. So they each got board games and other things they could do at home. And so with our weekly nutritional support backpack program, we included weekly learning activities for each family. We were working with UK Extension Service, especially their nutrition education program, to provide all of those. During that period of time where everybody was getting the supplemental food, they got hygiene items. We donated reading books, all kinds of school supplies. Anytime we would get any additional information about COVID-19, we provided that in their bags. And then 18 to 20 families each week were delivered their groceries by Allison, and also on the bus routes. So if a family could come to the bus, we would give them their nutritional food bag off the bus. Those that couldn't, Allison was taking them personally to their homes and delivering them. So those are just our little support bags ready to roll. These are just an example of some of the learning activities we got from the Extension Office. And newsletters on Chop Chop is a kids newsletter for nutrition and how to cook. They had some farm to fridge, milk on the move. Those are little activity books from the Extension Service that the kids received. And then the government also came out with early childhood education supplies for kiddos that could, they just had to enter, and then if they got in on time and they were chosen, they got all of these beautiful prizes. So 7 families in Mercer County, because this information got out through your FRISC programs, received $200 worth of early learning materials for free, delivered to their home so they could continue. We couldn't continue cradle school, but they could do it at home with these activities. And then there's some of our other little kiddos that got some were chosen for the Cradle School Childhood Kits. The MCIS had a cooking club that we started this year. It's hard to cook virtually, so we decided we were going to go and make it a salsa garden. So our MCIS 15 kids are participating in growing a salsa garden. And also once a month, they are coming to the farmer's market and receiving a mystery box, kind of like a chopped basket. They're sending me pictures through email of their garden. And then they're also doing some science activities about seeds and plants that we're working on. So here's some of our kids showing me their beautiful gardens that are growing. And then more things that we are doing. We just actually this week gave out little activity toys, little footballs, frisbees, jump ropes to all of the kids. That's get you moving Mercer County. We want the kids out of the house, off the Xbox, out there doing something. So when they take a picture, playing a frisbee, throwing a football, doing something with their family, they send it into Georgiana, and then they're going to get entered into a prize drawing for some larger Get Moving Mercer County prizes. This picture with Melody, she did some journaling for the high school kiddos. She's got some questions in there that the kids can answer to kind of be thoughtful about what this experience is like, because for all of us, this is something that we're going to tell our grandkids about and our great grandkids about. No more, we walk both ways uphill to school. It's going to be that COVID is now the new sob story that we will be telling all of our kids to make them feel okay. But these are just the little totes. All the totes went on the buses, and we handed them out to every kiddo that came to the bus for a lunch. And then on the right is just some of the different prizes that we have. There's the prize baskets. Georgiana and Allison put together beautiful little baskets for the families. They do a great job decorating them and making them look super special. Mm-hmm. Instead of like me, I would put it in a bag and they wouldn't feel very special. So they are very gifted at that. And so basically, we just really want to thank our Mercer County community. We'd like to thank Jennifer for her support through this time. It's been a trying time for all of us and thinking outside of the box. But our community, we just really want you all to understand our community was fully behind us and helping us with our kids and our families. Without the community support, there was no way that we would have been able to provide all of the nutrition that we did during this time. And we just wanted to say thanks and how grateful we are for the support that we've had. And we don't know what it's going to look like, but we know we'll be able to take care of whatever needs our families have through the support of our community. And then as we always say, teamwork makes the dream work. And this is my first year, which what a great first year it was. I had my superheroes to team up with, and it was just really a great, fun, crazy year. So just want to thank you all for your time. And if y'all have any questions, any one of us will be happy to answer them.
Very good presentation for one. Excellent. And I just appreciate all the hard work you guys have done. I mean, I could not imagine the scrambling you all had to do and had to do it so quickly to make sure all of our kiddos in the county were taken care of. So great work, you all.
Thank you.
Amy?
Yes, sir.
Bill Montgomery here. I had one question, and I just noticed a difference just a few weeks ago. You mentioned your bus routes that you had. Did you all change those during the process? I know that there were different locations around over the county, but then here, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a bus actually come through our neighborhood here, and one of the families up the street from me, the kids came out and got their bag and stuff, and I didn't know if that had changed in the process, if you saw the need of changing it in the middle of everything, or what that was there. Also, while I'm talking here, I like Randy there, want to just commend you all for the hard work that you've done, and I know it meant a lot to the kids and the families in the county, and I'm just so proud to say, whenever somebody goes to talking about something, I mention it to them, and they said, "You got to be kidding me. There's no way that you can do that." I said, "Yeah, we can, because we got the people that want to do it." And I'm just so proud of you all and the hard work that you do doing this.
Thank you. So as far as the bus routes go, Chris Miner takes care of the transportation and working with transportation group about where we're going to be going. I will say that if there is a need, he will find a way to get a bus out there. The bus that I typically ride on, which they'll call them by the two new neighborhoods just 2 weeks ago. And there were about 40 more kids in those neighborhoods that were receiving the free lunches. It was just a neighborhood where the folks were unable to get out to come to the bus, to the locations. But they are, you know, he's been out in his Suburban delivering food. And so it's a very fluid, it's a very fluid situation. So if somebody comes and says, I've got 10 kids on this street, Chris will find a way to get a bus there with food.
He just texted, and he's on here, so he may want to chime in. So,
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting an updated list out next week. We've changed some of our routes to go through different neighborhoods that we weren't getting before. So people will call and tell us. We'll find them.
Yeah.
Bruce is the man.
He is right.
He is.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for all the hard work that you all have been doing with this.
Well, those ladies in the FRC, let me tell you, they're good to work with. I met with them at the beginning of this, and it was a whirlwind. We sat down for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours just trying to get the bus routes together. And then literally the last 10 minutes that we were together, we switched it all up, and we've got where we are now.
Yes, thank you all very much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank
Any
you.
other questions, guys?
No.
All right. So,
Your time, we really appreciate you letting us jump in on you.
oh, thank you all. We appreciate
you.
hearing what's going on too. So when we are asked questions, we know.
Well, hopefully the next one won't have so much COVID with it. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, personnel report, Mr. Davis.
Just your typical personnel report. It is longer than normal because of the end of the year. So, you know, some positions that are waiting on title funding and things like that can show up as non-recruits and different things. Yep. Does anybody have any specific questions on the personnel report?
No.
Nope.
No.
Everybody. All right. Do we need to
There's
have
no participation.
okay. And then we'll just move right on. Consent agenda items. Anybody have a question about those?
Make a motion, we approve them.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Randy. Billy and Bobby, do you all agree?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right. I am as well. So we'll just keep moving. Fuel vendors, Mr. Preston.
I'll be speaking for Mr. Preston, but anyway, I think these are three vendors we've used in the past, but it's 4 vendors that we could purchase diesel fuel and gasoline. We don't purchase gasoline, but diesel fuel. So it's just those 4 vendors.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the fuel
I
vendors?
recommend that we accept these 4.
Oh, sorry, Dennis. I figured you did, I guess, since you were presenting it.
I will make a motion to accept these vendors.
Thank you, Randy.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bobby, Billy, and Larry.
Yes.
I'm good.
Okay, I am as well. Thanks, guys. All right, Trailblazer Academy agreement.
We have policy and procedure update first.
Oh, I skipped. See, I always have to skip one. It wouldn't be a normal meeting if I didn't skip.
I mean, we have to do this every year. So the ones that are the first attachments with the 03, or no, the M's at the beginning are the normal policies and procedures. And then I pulled in, and we talked about this a few times, and I looked at what some other districts were doing. So The other three are in relation to our travel reimbursement, which we haven't been doing. We've been saving money on travel for people going places, but if an individual goes to a conference or something like that, or even board members go to a conference, the rate for food has always been $30 a day since the 90s. So I looked to see what other districts were doing, and a lot of them have moved up to the $40 range just to stay more on trend with where prices of food have increased over time. And then the form for the travel reimbursement also only allowed for a 15% tip. For most of you all know, most days 18 to 20% is a normal these days. So it just states that no more than 20% will be reimbursed. So if they just really like their server and want to give them an excellent tip, that's great, but we're only going to reimburse them up to 20%. And then the max for reimbursement for the day on food would be $40. So that's the one that's kind of out by itself. The other ones, there are lots of little tweaks here and there. These go through the KSBA policy and procedure services. We use KSBA for that purpose, like most districts in the state of Kentucky do, and it's just the normal updates. And so you will have to do your first reading, and really on the procedures, you only have to do one reading, but I just lumped them all together. So you'll do your first reading tonight. So there's really no vote that has to be taken. It's just that you've acknowledged that they were on the agenda, you've read through them, you've noticed them, and then in July, you'll actually vote to approve. Any questions?
Not here.
Oh,
Okay. No questions, guys?
nope.
All right. Now, Trailblazer Academy.
All right, this is part of the Trailblazer agreement that we've done the last 3 years. It's the same agreement, nothing has changed. The same amount, which is $5,000, that we have agreed on as superintendents to put toward the Trailblazer Academy. So it's just our standard agreement between us and the districts, which is Mercer, Bergen, Anderson, Frankfort Independent has joined, and Kentucky School for the Deaf.
All right. And you recommend to approve this, obviously.
Yes, I do. We put a lot of work and they're doing some really good things there. So yes. I do recommend that.
Yes. All right. Can I get a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Billy.
I will second.
Thank you, Randy. Larry and Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, guys. And then position additions for 2021.
All right. Well, Senate Bill 1 came out last year, which sets the ratio of how many mental health professionals you're allowed to have per students. That's set at 100, 200, at 1 for every 250 students. So we can count like the school sites and things of that in that ratio, but we're not there. So what we'd like to do is ask to be able to fill those positions. But before I do that, we would like to ask for a half-time teacher for Mercer Central. You know, Mercer Central grew quite a bit last year. The reason we would like this is because we want any student that's going to take virtual, it's going to be all virtual when we run through Mercer Central next year. So we do think that we're going to have quite a bit of increase in people taking virtual. This person will be responsible for keeping up with each student that's on virtual, allowing them to take tests, different things and modules and things from there. So we're asking for a half a teacher at Mercer Central. We're asking for 1 elementary counselor or mental health services professional. I know I have one school that's looking, instead of a counselor, they would like to have a social worker. Counselor does tier 1 and tier 2 interventions. This social worker does tier 2 and tier 3. So it's a combination that they can have all the different levels covered. And with that being said, excuse me, Team Middle has a halftime right now. We'd like to add a halftime position to make that a full position, either a counselor or a mental health professional. And if you see, this proposed increase of additions is approximately $106,000. Now, the state did put in some money in different categories, not as much as we wanted, but they have put in about $63,000 toward this increased cost. leaving the district with about $43,000 bill that will come out of general fund to pay for these positions. So basically, we're asking for two. We're getting a halftime teacher and two mental health professionals or counselors for $43,000 that will come out of general fund.
Okay.
And we're also hoping that we will still receive more funding because the numbers for the Senate Bill 1 funding have not been finalized. We've heard an approximate number. So we're hoping that hopefully that comes out a little bit more. And then, of course, we've talked about this CARES Act money a million different ways, but we may either be able to offset some of the costs to general fund with the CARES Act funds and potentially some FEMA relief funds in order to free up some of this money. So it may not be an actual $43,000 just hit off the top. It may be a little bit less than that, and that's what we're hoping. And these are just approximations depending on what rank or, how we're paying the person. But I tried to put them off like a rank 2 with 15 years of experience and that kind of thing, just to try to get us at a midpoint on those things. So that's why it's an estimation. If we end up getting someone that, has less years of experience, or if we get someone with more years of experience or a rank 1, it could fluctuate a little bit here and there.
Can this mental health person also be a counselor? Could they have a dual role?
Yes, they could. Most certifications they don't, but yes, absolutely they could.
We just don't want to kind of pigeonhole ourselves either into one where, we only post it one way or the other. We may not be able to find enough people to fill those positions in the area that we're in also.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I make a motion, we approve it.
I will second.
Thank you, Billy and Randy. Bobby and Larry?
Yes. Yes.
I am good as well. All right. This is my favorite one. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
I will make that motion.
Thank you,
I will
Randy.
second.
Thank you,
We had-
Bobby. Billy and Larry?
I think we had about 3 seconds there.